environment was exciting, but it's not. Like there's 3 to 4 people in my office every day, and they're all older, and like there's
That's
no
it?
like, yeah.
Oh my
This
gosh.
place is going down, dude. It's
Oh, wow.
bad. Yeah, I need to get out of there, but sorry, can I keep going? Just up.
I just like to get it early because
Okay.
then there isn't a whole lot of the bar to move. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, like people that are leaving, and the president stepped down. So now my boss is like the president. He wants to like make all these changes. He really, like we had
Sweeping changes, even though none of them are really possible.
yeah, exactly. And like we had a little discussion in the conference room the other day, just like him and I. And he was saying like what's going on. And he's like, yeah, and I really think we can turn this around because Chris kind of got real lazy with some of the stuff that he was going to be doing, like marketing and stuff, and we need to work on that again. And I really think we can kind of get the sales numbers back up. And I'm just like, oh, I
That's
leave
not
so
gonna
bad.
happen. I mean that's awesome that he wants to
Wants to
drive
include me,
drive
as a
things
business,
forward
yeah.
and include you, and
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate
obviously
that.
he's probably including others too. If I doubt you're the only one he would bring in to talk to. No offense,
Right? Yeah, like the other 2 people that are there. That's it. So,
But still, like it's not just like I'm in charge and listen to me, and like respecting that other people work on this thing too is very
Yeah.
important. And I would love for something to just happen, for this to suddenly have 200 to 300 viewers, or for
Sweet.
for my writing to just get back into my writing. But it's just like things don't happen like that, and unfortunately, the sad truth is, probably what's going to happen is I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with it to me.
No.
In fact, ideally, in my mind, what I want to move into is a part-time job that either allows me to move into a different full-time job or turns into a full-time job, and is a very basic, like, teller at a bank, and then, like, do that.
work like 25 hours a week, something like that.
And then move up to 40 or 50,
Yeah.
and then move up to like supervising or accounts or something, and then move up to managing, and just keep it simple, like 5 to or 8 to 5, and then that's it, and have weekends, which is why a bank seems so ideal, because it's like I came out of college, and I was really a part of that, like, man, I'm dreaming big, and I feel like I can achieve, and,
A lot of people do that.
people are, like, impressed with how I talk about myself and the things I'm doing, and I still feel like I have some of those qualities. I don't want any of it. Like, I don't. And part of it's even, again, returning to this idea of this slog. It's just like, well, how impressive are you? We're only looking for the most impressive. And it's just like, well, I didn't have that opportunity.
But I'm aspiring to be impressive.
Oh,
Let
my
me
God,
give you that chance.
Yeah, and so it's just like it's not even that that wouldn't be nice, but man, I truly do just want simplicity.
What I've like recently come to terms with myself is
we're still talking about the last topic.
I know, sorry.
By the way, since
Sorry,
I've started recording. Hi guys, welcome back to Gray Scott Marcus Ramble 2. You should go watch Ramble 1 if you want the introduction. Keep going, Mark.
Anyways, I feel like I need more time. Like I'm at the office 45 hours a week, and I'm sitting in front of a computer, and I'm like testing software and stuff. And like when I get home, I want to decompress. I want to chill. I want to do nothing.
And again,
but,
it's like that slog that it's just like this is such a painful and frustrating and infuriating experience. Like and it's just like, why does yes, of course, you should earn the job that you especially a very professional job. You should earn it, but like, man,
spend time to yourself. And here's my issue too is right now is like I want to get back into freelancing. Like I found a great website where people post what they want, and designers can go in and give them their feedback and post their designs, and the poster sends back their feedback, blah blah blah, and you can get paid that way. And it's like I would love to be able to do that, like spend more time doing that so I can build a portfolio so I can, beef up my application, say, yeah, here's other things I've done like freelance work for. But it's just like when I'm working 45 fucking hours a week, like I leave at 8:40, I get back at 6:30. Like that's fucking 10 hours. I gotta make dinner. Clean. It's just like
laundry.
No time.
So
I'm getting real close. Like maybe when July hits or something, I'll ask my boss, like, listen, like if I'm not doing as much design work, cut my hours, cut my pay. I'll come in like 25, 30 hours a week so I can actually focus on something that gives me happiness. Like I did one job, like I didn't win it, but I was texting my mom. It was like, wow, that made me so happy to be able to like do that design work, like real graphic design work again, and get feedback and do that. But it's like 45 fucking hours a week, or being gone 50 hours a week. There's just not enough time to do that. But
yeah, it's just
fuck.
Yeah, the applying to jobs is truly a job that gives you no real benefits, no pay, and it's our culture has pushed it to a new level of
Americans are the most overworked
tedium and
workforce in the country or in the world.
I don't know if I believe that.
China and Japan might have it going on, but
Korea actually more than Japan. From what I've heard about culture, Koreans work really hard, and Japanese just really just want to get on their train ride home and get home. From what I've heard, that was a recent
I didn't do a whole lot of research in it, so it's like, but Americans work hard in a lot of hours.
I guess. I've never entirely believed that. Back when, yeah, probably. Now,
absolutely.
I don't know so much. Especially because a lot of our work environment has become also a part of our. For a good portion, like 10%, 15%, has become also a play environment where it's just like work from home and you drink and like you're also watching ESPN or something, and it's just like yes but no, like these aren't like sweatshops, factories, like this isn't hard labor. This definitely is not hard labor. But we don't.
It still takes time, though. I mean, like time is a resource for everybody.
And that's really the biggest frustration out of applying to jobs. And we're gonna stop talking about this because
this is a topic. Jesus.
Because oftentimes all of this time is used up. You might even get into the interview. You might even get into the second interview, and then not a fucking peep.
Yeah.
And I think that is the worst part of the entire process, where it's just like, where did I go wrong? Please tell me, literally. And I get it. Like, it can be dangerous to tell someone that, because we're kind of going to talk about it in the next topic. But, amongst this lash-out culture, that might not be a good thing to do. But there are so many others who could benefit from that. Oh, well, this one sentence in your cover letter actually really suggests this, even though you might be thinking it suggests this. Oh, wow, that sucks, but thank you so much for taking the time to not suck and get back to me.
I think I've heard back basically saying, sorry, like, you're just not the ideal candidate. 3 jobs out of the fucking, I don't know how many.
Slogs, plethora. Slog.
Yeah.
So
let's move
lash
on.
out culture, which I thought was going to be actually the more even heated one, but we don't have as much time for it now. This might be a half-hour segment, but that's fine.
Whatever.
So this has happened with both of us.
We all do this. Like, whoever's watching this, we all do this. I'm definitely guilty of it.
You may be a bit more than me. So
I tend to not think as much before I speak. So.
I always just love waking up to, dude, I read an article and your opinion is wrong. So, yeah, why don't you bring this up because this is exactly what happened and why this is worth talking about.
Yeah, I actually had to remember what it was. I was like, what the fuck was Lash Out Culture about? And then it clicked in my head. There's a blog that I frequent. I'm not gonna say its name.
Thank you.
And the title of the post was "I hate disc golf." I'm like, oh.
Mark really likes disc golf. That actually hasn't been discussed on this show. Mark likes it. His cousin likes it, and always talking about it. I haven't experienced it because I'm crippled, unlike this guy without a leg. It was
one of the most. It was like the first like real physical thing I did post my accident. It was like 8 years later. I was like, Dylan was like, "Want to go disc golf?" I was kind of reluctant, and then I started doing it. And it's just like, wow, this is awesome. Like I'm moving around, being active again. Like that's part of my love for it. But I also just love playing out there. It's enjoyable, getting out in nature, blah blah blah. And it's also a physical challenge to myself, like trying to get better at it. Like those are things I think everybody could use in their daily life. Just mental challenges for themselves. So in this article, he says, "I hate disc golf." I'm reading it. I'm like, I'm trying to find why he hates this, and about like the second paragraph in, he says how he was talking to a guy and he mentions, oh shit, I forgot to call my buddy back. Sorry about that.
Do we need to cut?
No. I'll call him back later.
All
right. Excuse me. So he basically says that he was talking to a person and referred to golf, like regular golf, as ball golf. And the writer says, as if there's any other kind of golf. And the other person says, yeah, there's disc golf. I play disc golf. And that pretty much stemmed the hatred from the writer, is that he's a fan of golf and another person used another adjective to describe the typical old school golf. And then I feel like what bothered me is how like that statement rubbed him the wrong way.
Tree-killing golf.
Whatever. Like it rubbed him the wrong way to the point where he decided to just like think of every negative thing he could think about with disc golf. Like he's like treading through mud and like trying to get a stupid frisbee in fucking cages is dumb, and it's hot out and you guys wear your cargo shorts and your
I loved my response to that, where I was just like,
you do that too?
Yeah, I was just like, you do that too. and I could tell like you were gonna like say something, and then you were like, oh, because like the little bubble popped up that you were typing, and then it stopped.
That's when I started thinking about what I was gonna say, but it was just like, we all do this,
but that's the problem. But that actually in itself, like that article and like just doing that as a whole, this product of internet culture is just dumb, because most of the time you or I will look back on what we've said and it's just like, wow, most of what I said sucked. And like we talk about our rambles so far in advance because it's just like, wow, I didn't need to be so angry at Windows 7. Right. Or Windows XP. It's just like, or I didn't need to be so mad about chicks in a fucking whatever
Instagram models.
Yeah, Instagram. I don't know if I'd call them models.
Models.
Chicks who basically get paid because a whole bunch of horny guys look at them. And it's just like I thinking about it, like sitting down and being like, that's a model, that's a person who kind of just shows unflattering things about their body and gets looked at, and it's just like, you don't need to react immediately, because one, you don't need to end up looking dumb even if the subject is worth discussing about how dumb it is. If disc golf really sucks, find the actual reasons why it sucks. Probably doesn't, but
here's what happened too, is like after I read it, of course went to the comments section. That's a big fucking mistake. And like I swear to God, Scott, I wrote probably like 3 responses, and before, like after every response, I like delete, I like erase everything. It's like response, delete,
yeah, and
delete, and then at the end, I was just like, it's like, well, really, you don't hate disc golf, you just hate that some guy referred to golf as ball golf, right? And I ended up getting like a number of likes on the comics. That's what the article was about. I'm like, yeah. Anyone can say something that rubs someone the wrong way, but
that's also the part of what's wrong with the comment system is it allows this outlet to lash out culture, not for the thinkers, because I'm reading this because of this clickbait title and like these unsubstantiated reasonings, and now I'm going to lash out. But for any publication I would ever work at that had a comment section, I would literally tell them to turn it off. If I was ever hired into something like that, I'd be like, turn it off. Why? Because for those who actually want to talk about it, they're going to reach out to you in particular ways that will force them to actually think about their response. Whether that's through forums, your subreddits, your, email, or your Reader's Digest, or whatever the fuck. Like, the fact that this blog even had comments should kind of even be a clue to us that, like, this is actually dated, or I feel the same way about IGN, Kotaku. Forbes doesn't do it anymore. Times doesn't allow comments. Like a lot of these,
Well, it's smart though too, because like these companies, these
harms the
periodicals. They're there to inform. And
how informed is a person when they're like, well, fuck you, I really like this thing, and because I like it, it's like, I don't think at any point I've gotten on 0 frames per second or even this show and been like, well, I like Battleborn, so therefore everything, that hates it sucks. But I'm also, I've also been smarter than getting on, a lot of these comment sections and, unfortunately being lash out for those who were comparing it to Overwatch or hating on it needlessly. It's just that there's so much to this. It's,
the best thing to do, I think, really is to remove the comment section, because I feel like the lash out culture is not all that. It's not as prevalent in the real world. When you're like, you can get quick-witted people that if you're talking to somebody and you have a disagreement, they can be like, well, fuck you for these reasons. But when you're on the internet, like, you've got something
it happens so much more because of the anonymity.
Exactly. And I didn't know those companies. We say Wall Street Journal and Times. They disable comment sections. That's
I don't know. I know Forbes specifically.
Forbes, yeah.
And I'm fairly certain New York Times. I think the Wall Street Journal might still have comments.
I'm not sure.
But like we'd actually have to check. But yeah, I noticed this trend because there was this period, and this will actually tie into the Hypetrain. So unless you have another point to make, I'm going to transition here shortly.
Just basically saying, like if you're employed by those companies, you're clearly a learned. Well, should be. You're a professional journalist.
I mean, like, yes,
they've done their research.
Yes and no. It's just like
they're gonna be biased.
I've seen so many gaming articles out of Forbes that it's just like, fire this dude. And I don't mean that in the lash out way. It's just like, clearly this guy is jumping on the lash out culture. Like, that seems to be at least one of their gaming writers. He just seems to kind of jump on these trendy things to hate on, like the first week of The Division was a perfect example. Yeah, you remember that one where he was just he was just
God damn it.
He was just like, the Division's broken because the first week these people rushed to the end and now they need more content. Ubisoft. And like that wasn't the exact phrasing, but it was actually damn close, where it was just, he was actually saying that endgame players need more content because they chose to basically use breaks in the game. The Division has continually suffered from things that were broken, but that's an aside from what he was basically chiming in on. Either way, comments can hurt the readers. Not only those who choose to partake in the comments, but if you have made a very salient point, but the person reading has not made up their mind, you are a single person who wrote that. And
there's a lot of people.
Then there might be a lot of people who are, well, let's just go ahead and say it, ignorant to the entire point that was being made. Cannot reason through it, and instead just say, well, I like hot chicks and spandex, so I'm gonna tell you how much I hate you, Scott. And that ends up, then that person's like, well, yeah, they were kind of taking advantage of this culture that's been created in America, but there are all these people who hate this one person who wrote this one article. So the ability to lash out on the internet has actually really become, I think, harmful to the American culture as a whole. And before we move on to the hype train, you can even kind of see that in gun violence as of late.
Yeah, 100%.
And here's the point I want to make on that.
I made a little experiment last week with that.
Let me actually talk.
Go ahead, yeah.
As of recent, there are becoming more and more, we'll call them salient, or I guess good. We'll go with the standard goods. We won't use a big word. Good points pointing to the media as enabling these shooters, these attackers, these attacks, this violence. And I was ruminating. I was thinking about that. And that is, again, a lash out. Why? Because the media is only feeding into the people who watch it and consume it. The problem is us, the culture of America, that consumes this, that wants more details, that there's been a shooting. Oh, turn 5 on and leave it on for hours at a time. That is a problem. That is a huge problem, that we are the ones causing this. It's not the media.
We're addicted to...
We want to lash out,
Yeah. We want to be angry. We want to be offended.
Yeah. We
want to throw out our own points.
And I sent you that Total Biscuit video where it was just like, we couldn't even wait a fucking day.
Your microphone just had to attack you.
Yeah, well, I hit my thing, and because he was right, and I liked his anger. It's just like, these politicians couldn't even wait a fucking day. I don't even know if they waited an hour. They
put it right on their agendas,
and they're immediately talking about it. And the news is supposed to deliver the news. I'm not going to sit here and be like it's the news' fault, but man, every detail isn't necessary. Breaking news, we're going to cover this for an hour, and then you're back to your regular programming. And if there is actual pertinent shit, we will come back. But
no, it's live coverage all day.
Yeah, it's lash out culture. Really started cultivating amongst the internet. Twitter really pushed these news sources to be like, we have to be first, and we have to be on top of this. And now it really is seeping into a lot of our culture. You see it even more in our daily lives, where people are just attacking people because they're angry. I recall recently a driver drove into another driver repetitively and then told them to get out. The driver who was driven into said, I have a gun. And then that driver who drove into them took out his gun and told him to draw until the cops got there and shot him. Yes, this actually, I think it was in Florida. It was on the news. And
sounds about par for Florida.
It's just like, were you angry?
There's no reason for it.
Yeah, it's just like, you could have done this. Oh,
Take
wow.
time to breathe,
I don't have to go to jail.
I know. I think the lash out culture is what cultivates is in the ignorance, of people.
It really does.
You can present your information and, I think having an argument, not an argument, a discussion, an adult discussion about your opinion is healthy. It is healthy. It's important because you should.
It was
be able
healthy
to
here.
see- exactly. You should be able to see the other person's opinion and say, "I see what you're saying. I get that."
Yeah,
And-
instead of
but
like
it's the
moment.
It's the person that says, like, "No, you're wrong." That's where it turns into lash out culture, which should be adjusted in some point.
Instead of the "here's why
reflected
you're
upon.
wrong," it should be the
I see your point. Here's my counterpoint.
Or it should be the I looked into this information that I found or was presented to me, and I thought on it. I didn't just react. And
Right.
and
Or
you
did
know,
your own research on it.
I still feel the same way. But hell, I actually do see your point now. And I'd be willing to side with you on particular sides of that issue. This is why I've always, looked at myself as like middle of the road or moderate or independent when it comes to like our government, our what the fuck? Why can't I think of it?
Because we don't fucking know what it is anymore. It's
Politics.
reality,
Oh my
Scott.
God. How could I not say the word politics? Democrat and Republican. It is, and I shouldn't get caught saying that. I was going to say it is beyond me, but it does. It is quite the conundrum to me that people can say like, oh, I'm a Democrat and I believe in everything they stand for. I'm a Republican. I believe in everything they stand for. Like I'm a card-carrying, like bleeding heart Republican. And it's just like...
different Republicans have different views, right?
Really? Like you've never met anybody who's gay and you're just like, oh man, that was cool. Like that was very eye-opening. I still think they're wrong and shouldn't have rights to get married. Like, it's and there are still people out there who would look at this conversation and be like, nope, I'm my opinion, my beliefs, and no, I'm not gonna say that. No, I'll tell you off the recording. Oh man,
Off the record.
Yeah, that one will be off the record. So
that went long.
Well, again, I'm gonna cut part of that out just because it was just like, I apparently turned into a great ape. So, man, there was like so many things that I wanted to tie into the hype train here.
I don't even know what you'd be hyped about right now, but I'm curious. Mine's fairly simple.
You want to go first?
This is kind of past tense. Well, I got like two things. I'm kind of actually three things. Shit, I just thought about another one. I'm hyped for. One, I am hyped for your city of Cleveland because LeBron James brought the championship home in what I think was like 54 years since the city of Cleveland had brought any championship home. So
52.
52.
Are we called bandwagon fans for being happy about this, or
no? I don't think so. I mean, I've told everybody that I've talked to, they've asked about me, did you watch the game? I'm like, I don't like basketball that much. I'm not a Cleveland sports fan. However, I am very excited for the city of Cleveland and for the state of Ohio for what just happened. Does that make me a bandwagon fan? No, it just makes me
I don't
Ohio sports person.
I entirely don't even understand this idea of like, oh, people who only watch during the playoffs are bandwagon or whatever. I don't know what it's called.
Those are just bitter people that are sick of seeing their team lose all the fucking time. So
I'm very happy, especially how cool this story arc has been, where it's just like LeBron James was here and he was pretty immature, and then he left, and then he came back and he seemed pretty grown up about it, and now he brought home this championship, and that's such a cool story arc.
And he
in
set all
real
sorts of
life.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, it was the first time any team came back from a 3-1 deficit in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah,
ever.
very
and
cool.
he did it. And he said he was going to championship home to Cleveland. So it was a very exciting time for that.
Here's a couple of things I hope don't happen. I hope that Cleveland doesn't start talking like, oh, they're on the turnaround, we're going to be a real big city again, blah, blah. Like, Cleveland is a small city. It should be accepted as a small city and continue to just work on that and make it better. we're not New York, we're not Detroit, we're not Columbus. We're not even big as Columbus. It's a small city, and yes, I hope it brings opportunities to Cleveland. However, having lived here for so long, I can't help but be like, you guys really need to turn it down on the rhetoric of, we're turning Cleveland around. Cleveland's going to be great again. When was it great? And I hate to, I don't want to be a pessimist in this awesome opportunity, but for too long, it has been making the city great again. Really? Can't we just make it great? Why does it have to be again? Why do we have to compete with other cities? Can't we just do our own thing and be great at it?
I think it's just a mentality thing. It's like Cleveland's, for so long. Obviously, Cleveland's a huge sports town. You've got I feel like anyone that's a Cleveland sports fan is almost diehard, like the Browns fans.
Oh my God, those poor Browns fans.
Hard,
Oh my
Indians
God.
fans have gone through some shit, and as of recently, the Cavs fans have gone through ups and downs. And I think it's just an overall mentality thing on the entire city of Cleveland. It's not just, we're going to be great now. I think they're getting over this defeatist attitude. They've been disappointed for so long, for so many times, and now they can kind of get back to the positive side of things. And I mean, the Indians are first in AL Central right now, so I mean, it's like,
I don't disagree.
I think it's good for any city like that.
I don't disagree with it. I definitely agree with that kind of diehard sports fans, and it's awesome and it's great. But I recall. When I was in high school, and we ran into these tourists on our way to an Indians game, and they were asking my buddy, what do we do? And I was just, and I'm happy. What the fuck? That got dark. And I'm happy he answered, because in my mind I was like, leave.
Nothing. Yeah, I would say the same fucking thing about Toledo. Years ago, I would have said the same thing about Toledo. But if I'm in Toledo now and someone's out of town, I'm like, I don't live here anymore. But here's some here's some good food.
It's just it's not a tourist destination, and it's just we shouldn't try to compete like that. We should be our own thing, and maybe eventually grow into that. But this idea that the RNC is really going to ramp things up, I'm concerned. Why do we have why are we building all these hotels? What are they really going to do for us? I don't know. So, yeah, awesome. I caught the final about half of the game, and it was a very cool game to. It was
probably the best game of the series.
Don't like basketball, and God, the defenses on both halves played their hearts out. And I don't even watch basketball, so I don't even know if that's true, but it looked like they did. And very cool. City might still burn down for the RNC.
You got that going on next month.
For myself, I guess, I'm hyped. I'm big update coming to Warframe. In fact, I'm probably going to start an ad campaign to try to get you to download the free fucking game, because honestly, the way this update is looking, there is never going to be a better time for new players to join. They're changing the map system. It's going to be an entirely new map layout where all the old locations are basically new again, and even new stuff for old veteran players, and all those old supposedly, some of this stuff might be later, because sometimes they get, really excited for an advanced new system that they've got coming out to us. And they're just all the nodes will scale, and, you'll be able to basically set the difficulty. I've tweeted at the one dev a couple of times now, and I have a feeling that one might not be making it. So we might still be visiting some of our old locations, but that's okay, because they're they're bringing a Rocket League type mode to. Again, this is where I'm just maybe it's time we start talking to Marc again, because because like there's basically going to be
bad time this time of year.
There's basically going to be like a Rocket League mode where you jump into PvP. It's 3v3, and it's two sides of the court, three large pillars kind of preventing the across the court shots, and instead of cars, you're basically space ninja robots. So instead of just kind of ramming into each other at high speeds, you can actually stop and fist punch each other, which is kind of cool. So it's like I love Rocket League, but seeing a variation of it, I'm not against that at all.
Sure.
Seeing what it would be like to shoot yourself across the map, because these space ninja robots can do this thing called a bullet jump, where you move incredibly fast through the air, but then stop completely, full stop, and then just like hit a player to get them to drop the ball. So that's I'm very hyped to get back into one of my favorite games of all time, and yeah.
Do you know what comes out on Friday?
Independence Day.
Yes.
I was. I was thinking about asking you about that.
I'd like to see it. And I'd also like to see, this is one of those silly indie movies I'm sure not many people care about, but the Neon Demon with...
that one again.
Oh my God. I love Drive, and I love Only God Forgives, so I need to watch this other movie that he writes and directs, Nicholas Winding Refn.
Windinger.
I don't know how to fucking say his name. He's like Danish or some shit. I'd like to see both of them.
We can muddle over it. Let's not make the commitment just in case you can't.
I want to see both. I think Independence Day would be much better to talk about. But
I'm not gonna see that movie. I didn't like the trailer.
Independence Day?
No, the neon or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, like I wouldn't expect you to. I don't know. I just feel like Independence Day would be more something you'd be interested in, because the first one's fucking great.
I mean, we're about to talk about Peaky Blinders coming up here, so like indie doesn't escape me. But it's that
he's pretty out there. Like he's weird.
Whatever, man. So yeah, I think that one's on the docket. If I'm being honest, I don't think this is going to be anywhere near as good as the first movie, just because it's just like that.
Absolutely not.
You knew something bad was going to happen, period, in Independence Day. I mean, like, duh. But, like, there was so much build-up. The build-up was so good.
It set the precedent for, I don't know, what kind of movie would you call it? It's like event-driven movies.
Yeah,
like, that pretty much was it.
Yeah. It's just
kind of built up.
It's just like, we kind of know what's coming, but at the same time, it's just like,
how's it gonna happen?
Yeah, what's gonna happen? Yeah, like, and then
so
she's standing under the thing with the sign, and then space laser. Spoilers.
If you haven't seen Independence Day, go fuck yourself and watch it.
Lash out culture, Mark. So. Yeah, I mean, I want to, but like, there is that inkling in me that it's just like, this isn't gonna be as good.
It's not gonna be as good, but if anything's gonna take you to it, it's gonna be Jeff Goldblum is back.
Was he really gone? So another part of the hype train, I've been burning through the league, and like his appearances on there are phenomenal.
Perfect.
Yes,
I would call him perfect. I would not pick a better person to be Ruxin's father. Except for Jeff Goldblum.
It's phenomenal.
He out Ruxin's Ruxin.
He does. So yeah, a lot of Warframe. Still loving Battleborn. Been playing a lot of Minecraft with Jenny, and I bought into the Stick of Truth for the Fractured Butthole.
To watch that trailer.
Deal.
The conference for it, and I'm sure I'll get the game because the first one's fucking great.
I am not, like, either it's not the right timing for me, or I'm just not into the pacing of the game, because I feel I jump in, and if I hit a good section, that's where I'm consistent. But then I'm not like I'm ready to go back like an hour later. It's just kind of like, I plan to play it, but like I look at it and I'm just like, maybe the pacing was a bit off. I don't know. So
it could just be a timing thing. Like you're used to Battleborn, and you're gonna get back into
fast-paced games.
Warframe, exactly. So yeah, I mean the first one was hilarious.
It still is. I mean I sent you that one image of Butter's dad messaging me.
Sorry for Butters, just in general.
Oh man, that's good.
Oh shit.
So
all right, so it wraps up one of the longest ramble sessions we've had in a long time.
I mean, again, big part of it's going to get cut, but
yeah. We also skipped last week. Well, this was last week's, postponed it, so it's been a minute since we've done this.
We'll see you in the topic. I'll say this to Mark after.